All right. Can you guys tell me if you can hear me? Because it's on right now. We got Rado Mason, NVR NDR, and Aiden. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, so I'm gonna eat my salad until some more people pop on. I just got this giant salad. What's up, Jeff? Yo, Jeff, can you hear me? I'm making salad. Okay, cool. Like, there's these little dots here on the live stream. And it tells me what my mic's coming out at, but they're not working, so don't know. All right. So, how's everyone's Friday? Fridays are my favorite because it's a good day off that I get to hang out here. I'm cleaning off my salad dressing off my computer. I get to hang out here for an hour with you guys, answer some questions, make a lot of new relationships. This is super cool, thinking about it, that this is something I probably wouldn't have done had COVID not come along. And I'm really glad that I've been able to work on Dougster Bob because I've met so many cool people. Like I literally have only twice probably got emotional from different emails that I've got because, like, I don't know, man, people for me, BMX was always like just a way for me to express myself and get out of my own head, right? And I figured it would be like that for a lot of other people. And so then actually hearing about it, like hearing these emails about how, like, one time there's this kid, he messaged me for a bike review or a bike recommendation, and he's all, sup Rado, sup Mason. He was all, hey man, I'm saving up for this cult gateway and I really want it. So thank you for the recommendation, blah, 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 but we're waiting on it. He messaged me a couple days later and said, dude, all the money I saved up, I had to give to my parents because our house burnt down. And like, this is no joke. He sent me videos of their house with, you could tell it was all black, the inside. Like, I was like, dude, that's actually crazy. And like there's emotional stuff like that. And then BMX helps you kind of get through it all. Good news to the story. His parents already bought him the bike and they had it in storage to give to him for his birthday. So like the bike was fine. He was like all good. But like I don't know. I've gotten a few like that and I'm like, that's just absolutely crazy. So I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad we're able to make these connections. Speaking of connections, guys, I have to shout out Jeff because look at this. Look at this. This one's probably my favorite. Jeff sent me like 4 different finger bikes and I got him here hanging out next to me. So when you, if one of your questions has to do with how to do a trick or even frame geometry or whatever, like I've got a perfect example. Thanks to Jeff. This is super cool. Marvin, they're at Target. They're awesome. I'll be working and then I'll look over and I'll grab it and I'll just start doing like nose manuals with the bike and stuff. Dude, I have so much fun with that. Okay, so I got this giant salad. I'm gonna shake it up and try and eat while I talk, but I talk for so much that like I'll never get a chance to eat, but I'm gonna try and eat. What's up, Jason? Jason, what part of the UK are you in? I was in Wales for a while, and I absolutely love Cardiff. Who else we got? Marvin, what's up, Marvin? Glad you're here. Aiden, guys, I said it in the comments if you guys read the comments. Yesterday was Aiden's birthday, and I know we have a handful of homies that always hang out in the live. It was their birthday over the last couple days. So if it was your birthday, let me know so I could tell you happy birthday because, dude, that's awesome. I mean, once you get past like 20, birthdays aren't as cool anymore. But when you're younger, birthdays are super cool. So happy birthday, Aiden. Who else? Let me know so I can tell you happy birthday. Matt is here. He says, hey, guys, love the We the People Reason video. Sweet bike. If not the single wall front rim, it'd be killer. Matt, I'm glad you liked the video. It literally, I spent probably, I'd say around 2 to 3 hours just filming the first half of We the People's Line. And then I had to go to bed. It was like 10 o'clock. I go to bed really early. And so I quit. And then I was editing it. It took me another like probably 2 hours just to edit that video because I added so much to it. Like those little circles, those are from Apple Watches. And that's how the circle fills in on an Apple Watch. But I used it to say like the street score, the dirt score, the park score. And I went super in depth on that video. So every video review from here on out is going to be probably 10 to 15 minutes because I want to cover every single aspect so that you know exactly what you're getting. And sometimes, honestly, guys, like I mess up. And if that happens, just call me out in the comments so we can make an adjustment. Like I'll probably pin your comment if you correct me. I won't be hurt by it because the whole point of it is to provide solid information for you guys shopping for a bike. And yeah, so you guys can help me out with that by commenting if I mess up. And yeah, it's going to take me a long time to keep doing a lot of reviews, but like I said, though, the quality is going to be so much better than, I remember the first few I did were probably around 5-6 minutes. I just kind of read the description, touch on some of the specs, and that's it. And the idea was to point you from that video to my website. But it seems like more of the older guys end up on the website and a lot of the younger guys end up on YouTube. So I'm just going to go like 110% on the website, 110% on YouTube, and see how it goes. The salad, who said what kind of salad? It's a turkey avocado cob, and it's got lots of avocado, which I think I'm a little bit allergic to avocado, only sometimes. Sometimes my stomach hurts when I eat it, and sometimes it doesn't. It's really weird. So we'll see what happens today. But, bro, I'm getting salad literally everywhere. Rado's birthday is June 10th. All right, Rado, here's what we're going to do. If that's on a Friday, we'll do a live just for you. I'm going to go to my calendar. July. Oop. June. Rado, it's on a Thursday. I'm going to put it in here so I don't forget. Rado's birthday. All right. My phone corrected it to radio. All right, guys. I'm kind of lagging on getting started with some questions. I'm just having fun talking to you guys, but put them in the chat and I will get to them. I'm going to put Rado's birthday in here. Guys, let's see. All right. I'm going to answer some questions. Rado's in Ireland. Jason's in London. All right. I was only in London. I landed in London and I didn't sleep the whole time. So then I jumped on my bike. And when I got to the airport to fly from LA to London, I had a $100 ratchet. I used to work on cars, so I had a nice like adjustable 100-pin ratchet, and I had it in my backpack instead of my bike bag. So when I went through security, they said this is too long, like this is a weapon. They threw it away, and so I didn't have a ratchet to put my bike together. I got to London and checked my stuff in at like a hotel and just left it there. But I had to hand tighten my bolts, and that was awful. But then I rode around. London's really cool. It's so different because like there's so many more people just walking and riding. The streets are tiny. I can't wait to go back. I really want to go back. So that's awesome. Jason, if I'm ever there, we'll go ride. Is Adrenaline Alley in London? I think it is. All right. What else we got? Everyone's telling Aiden happy birthday. Good job. Good job. Rado says, Dougster Bob, will you do a belly flip versus kink gap, please? I can give you 10 sub easy. You want the Beth? So Rado rides a Bethly flip. I remember this, and I'd never heard of that bike, but it actually looks pretty decent. I'm gonna write it down, Rado, but no promises because I have so much going on right now. You guys always hear me talk about bike school. We just started getting the website set up and started getting the course outline set up. We have a handful of videos done already. They're super. Nick made a killer trailer, and I can't show you. I'll show you eventually, but we're working hard on that. And then I'm trying to edit these We the People videos and write like a 10,000 word post on my website. But Rado, eventually, just keep reminding me every live, and eventually I will get to it. But I'm going to write it down just in case, okay? Versus kink gap. Because I remember when I looked at the flip, I was like, yo, that's actually a decent decent bike, and I was surprised because I've never heard of it. Um, Matt says, looking forward to the rest, like the Crisis. Yeah. Right now I'm editing the arcade because it's kind of a lower quality one, and there's a lot of beginner riders looking at that. And also the arcade looks super sick. It's like matte black with camo tires. That's my favorite color. Not the camo colors. My favorite colorway probably of We the Peoples though, or the black with the neochrome cranks. Anyway, I don't know how to say this. Prithvi, are you going to make a video review on the Sunday Forecaster? I got one for Christmas and would like to know your thought. Oh, you know, I filmed that like all the Sunday videos. I filmed a review for every single one, and I think I only published the blueprint, and then I forgot about it. So I have all those. Oh my God. Yes, I will put that out very soon. I totally forgot about all the Sunday bikes. Oh, that makes me frustrated because there was a time there for like a month where I didn't put out any content because I didn't have time to edit it or film it. And I could have now that I think about it. So thank you for reminding me. Your birthday's on Christmas. Oh, we just missed your birthday. That's sad. Rado is back with the car questions. Should I build a BMW E36 M3 drift core or a Subi? Rado, go with the Subi. I support the Subis for sure. This is why I can't eat during the live. Okay, Matt. Kink Switch versus Sabrosa Letum. Eventually, I'll do a video, one of the comparison videos, but now I can kind of incorporate the Dougster Bob score to them to make it a lot more in depth. So I will work on that. I love those comparison videos because they're just so fun to do. I don't know why. I have a lot of fun doing those. So I will do that. I'm going to write it down and shout to you out in the video, okay? But for now, just general thoughts. Let me write it down real quick. Here's the thing. The Letum got an incredibly high street score on my Dougster Bob score. Like, incredibly high. Probably one of the highest bikes of all the bikes I compared for street. Now, the quality score of the Switch is about the same. So it just depends what you're going to ride. Yes, the Switch is a street-focused bike, but in that sense, it's a little more generalized, whereas the Letum is really, really street-focused. So if you plan to just ride street and you're kind of riding at a high beginner to mid-level, God, why do I always get something in my eye? If you're planning to ride a lot of street, like only street, the Letum would be a good way to go. But if you're still unsure and you're kind of looking like, well, maybe I like to ride park sometimes, maybe I want to ride dirt, then I would definitely go with the Switch. And I do think the Switch is better bang for your buck. It's a little bit cheaper and the quality is just a little bit better. But I'll go really in depth on that video because I think that's a really good topic and there's a lot of people looking at those two bikes. But let me write down. I wrote it down. I'm going to write down from Matt so I can shout you out. Matt Slipka. All right, hold on. All right. Mason says, when is the Discord? Who is the one? Was it Bypaths? Someone is allegedly setting up the Discord, which is super cool because I don't have to do it. I don't know how, and I literally don't have the time for it. But if we get it set up, that'll be sick. And yeah, so I hope it does. I think it was Bypaths that was going to do it. I think. LA says, thank you for the PDF. Yeah, dude, I remember. So when I look at those, they come in and, I get a lot of like bots or people just writing random things. And I don't want to waste my time on it if it's not actually going to someone. So I just skip it. And I saw like first name L, last name A. And I was like, all right, that's not a real name. But then I saw your comment on one of my videos. So I was like, oh, this is a real person. So I went ahead and did it for you. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit. Bypass just bought the Profile Minis and you ride street. Yeah, no, that's fine. I ride the minis also. I think they're the best hubs for the price, but I've rode in them forever, and so I haven't really spent too much time looking at them. The only other thing, like the elites are obviously the elite, but if you got the female axle, there's rumors that the female axles are weaker. I ride the female axles. I grind a good amount, like handrails, everything like that. And I've never had an issue with them. So as long as you get some hub guards, those will be perfectly fine for you. Rado, if your bike is probably an unsealed front. So Rado says, do I have to buy a new bearing if it moves a little bit? Or do I have to buy a front hub? So like you're probably talking about this, right? Like if it moves like that. And that, yes, technically is the bearing, but on a bike where it's unsealed, don't even mess with it, man. Just get a new front wheel or a new front hub. I'd get a front wheel because you can get a cheap sealed wheel for maybe like $40, but then you're getting the whole wheel. Whereas if you just get a hub, it's a cheap hub would probably be like 20 to 30, but the headache of lacing it is not worth your time. So yeah, if your wheel is like that a little loose, it's not the end of the world. But if you're real particular about your bike, you could go ahead and replace it. But at that point, I would just do the whole front wheel. Rado. All right, Jeff says bar spin question. I hope I get to use the bike for this. I just bought a S&M Long Johnson seat post so I can squeeze my seat for pull-up bars. Can you describe the progression from lowering my seat to hop bars? Okay. Well, I've always run my seat slammed, all the way down. I've never really messed with the adjustment of my seat. And if having it higher helps you out with pull-up bars, I really would say leave it. Like, I mean, I wouldn't go too high, but leave it at a nice happy medium where it's high enough for you to do pull-up bars, but then also to pull up, um, also do when you do them hop or when you do them fly out. I recommend doing them fly out. But the biggest thing here, like we use the bike, when you pinch your seat, okay, you want to be able to pinch it like this, right? With your legs. These are my legs, okay? You're on your pedals. When you throw the bars, you've got to be pinching the seat and leaning back at the same time with your legs, but your chest is over here. Your chest has to be above the bars. The reason you pinch is so that when you throw the bars, if you do them goofy footed, you'll notice this. When you throw the bars, the bike does this, whichever way you throw it, it dips. And so pinching your seat keeps it from dipping while the bars spin. That's really important. The second thing is keeping them back, because if they're too far forward when you throw the bars, your bars are going to hit your legs. So there's two different things there. But I'm not sure. I hate pull-up bars. I've done like one or two. I don't have fun doing them because they scare me, to be honest. They scare me to death. So I'm not sure how that would kind of translate into doing a hop bar or a fly out bar. The biggest thing is that it'll get your confidence up enough to where you feel comfortable throwing it in the air because you know what you're doing. So I would just work on them pull up, and then when you're ready, when you have your confidence in order, throw them hop or throw them fly out for sure. Aiden is in class right now. Aiden is at history. I hope you're paying attention. Oh God, lots of questions. All right, Caroline retracted a message. Prithvi, man, I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm trying my best. Says he learned how to 180 and to pick up bar so far. That's awesome. Aiden, I always, whenever I post Aiden on my Instagram, he's like this super tiny guy, but somehow he can 180 his bike. And I know if I was that tiny, I'd have a hard time. So it's a lot of knowing how to shift your weight and throw your weight around. Prithvi, as soon as you get that really comfortable, I'm confident you'll be able to learn 360s very quickly. Aiden just learned pickup bars. NVRNDR says, I just got another BMX after my first one like 25 years ago. This guy is super cool. he said he's in El Paso area. I'm in El Paso area, so it was really cool to connect like from my website and get him. He just ordered a kink whip, he says, and he also redesigned one of my logo a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys because I really like it. I think it's awesome. There's a couple things that I'd like to change, but it looks so much cleaner than my logo. Like my logo is sloppy. This is really clean. Look at this. Ooh, I like it. I like the BMX there, how that's a little different. And it just looks really clean. So that guy kills it with the graphic design. You guys are so awesome, always doing stuff for me. God, legends. Aaron B says, Aaron, is this the same Aaron B that I used to ride with in high school that I saw at work a couple weeks ago? I wonder. Anyway, he says, thoughts on the Sunday dark wave frame. I'm looking on building a nice high-end bike from scratch. I just reviewed the dark wave frame actually, but let me pull it up and look at it. It's the, oh my God, I can't even think of his name. It's that one guy's signature. I'll think of it as soon as I see it. Brock Rayford. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Vitals on Google. It goes Vitals review specs and comparison of it. And then we need to do better. We need to get above Vital on there on those reviews. But I mean, if you're just looking for something high end, this frame's super high end. But I'll run through the specs and kind of tell you what kind of riding it's good for, okay? So it has a 75.25 degree head tube angle, which is, I don't know, 75 is average. So the 0.25 degrees is a little bit steeper. You'll feel it a little bit, but not really. Honestly, it's not steep enough to really make a difference. The more important thing there is like which offset forks you go to, because if you run 75.25 with 15 millimeter offset forks, that thing's going to be crazy responsive in the front end. And the chainstay is 13.25 to 13.5. So it's not really compact. It's going to be, I don't know, pretty good for more of a flowy type riding. Like think about how Gary Young rides street versus how Garrett Reynolds rides street. Like Garrett Reynolds is a 12.75 inch chainstay kind of guy. Gary Young's more of the 13.5 type. So those are kind of the styles and how that affects your riding. It's got a really tall standover, so that's going to help you out with what we were talking about with pinching your seat and stuff. It looks like a good frame, but I'm not sure what kind of riding you do. Sunday's aftermarket frames, though, are some of the absolute best. They're super strong. They're well built with the they just put a bunch of different things into it, like different love, I guess that's a good way to put it. They just go above and beyond on the frames. That's why they're so expensive, though. But if you have the money, you're going to do that. Yeah, man, go crazy. I recommend it. The Unknown says, can you do any skate tricks? Aiden can do the ollie. I can ollie this high, not very high at all. And I've landed 2 pop shove-its. A pop shove it, I just kind of flicked it around. I didn't actually pop it. Skating to me is super hard. Like whenever I'm at the park and I see someone who kills it, it's like mad respect to that guy, because I know how hard it is for bikers to get to a certain level of riding, and I can only imagine how hard it is for skaters to get to that same level. And I'm really tall, so like if I loop out, my center of balance is way higher than a lot of people. Skating's hard. Rado says, is the Stranger RPG or SRT the Stranger? I don't know, Rado. I have no idea. There's a bunch of numbers in there where numbers shouldn't be. I don't know. I wish I could help, Rado. Try it better. Try and ask your question better. Okay. Isaac is here a little late. It's okay, Isaac. It's better late than never, right? All right, I'm just trying to, I'm reading to catch up, and then if I see a question, I'll stop and answer it, okay? Bypass, laced up his first wheel. I did one side 2. He did one side 2 cross and one side 3 cross. Yeah, that would not work out very good at all. I remember lacing my first wheel, and it was like, I think most people do this. They lace their first wheel. And if you do it right, first try, you're going to be hyped. But then you're going to realize that where your valve, where your hole for the valve stem is, you cross the spokes over that. And that's no good. So then you have to redo it again. That's what I did. I had to completely redo it because I crossed my spokes over the valve stem. That's frustrating. That's why bike shops charge so much to do that. All right, JMTB. This is a good question. I'm going to write it down so I have like a good title because I want to include some of the stuff I talk about in here. Is buying a used bike worth it? So yeah, it honestly, it depends where you're at. And I noticed this. I talked a little bit about being overseas for a bit, and over there, the used bike market is so much different. Like in the UK, everyone has used bikes for sale, and they're really good bikes. In the US, like yes, we have it, but maybe the thing is that for me to drive to a different state to get a bike, the US is huge. It's so spread out. So, and shipping bikes are really expensive, you know. It's probably to ship UPS, it's like $150. You can find cheaper ways to do it, but it's really hard. So if there's a used bike in your area and it's actually a good deal, yes. But in the US, that's really unlikely. In the UK, it's a bigger thing, and I say yeah, it's worth it for sure because you can save so much money doing it, and with that money you save, you can buy aftermarket parts to throw on to make it more customized to you. But there's a couple things that you definitely want to check out when you buy a used bike. Um, hey, finger bike example. So make sure there's no cracks. First of all, I wrote like a little article on this. Make sure there's no cracks. So you see your head tube, okay? Your head tube right here. This right here on the down tube, the top tube. That's one of the most common places for a frame to crack. So if you're buying a used bike, check it out right there. Make sure there's no cracks. I always check my bike a couple times, like a month, and just look at it. I'm like, this frame's a year old. I'm kind of paranoid, and I always look at it. So if you're buying a used bike, make sure you do that. The other spot is right here on the wishbone. Can you see right here, where those tubings connect to the bottom bracket? That's a common spot too. And then up here at the seat tube. I mean, pretty much all the welds, but the top tube for sure, top and down tubes most common. Just double check that really good to make sure it's not cracked. The other thing is the back end. So if it's a high tensile steel frame or a tri-moly frame, when you spin, this back end bends because you're putting constant impact on it in the direction you spin. So check that. And what I do is just look at it like this and look at the top tube. Okay. Make sure that it's in line with the top tube. Make sure that if you look at your top tube and it's going straight and then the wishbone is like this, that's not good. That thing's bent and it's just going to cause some extra headache. But always double check those things. And that's really about it. I mean, you can spin the wheels, make sure they're not hopping too bad. There's a guy that showed up at a skate park. He's like, guys, I just bought this bike. It was a Mafia, but he bought it used from somebody. And he's riding. And I was like, that's pretty cool. He spent like $150 or something, and which is too much for one. For two, speaking of that, if you guys, I have a really good app idea eventually. This like 5-year plan, but it'll help you out with buying used bikes. I'm not going to tell you all the secrets about it, but if anyone's a app developer, let me know. We can work together. But anyway, this guy showed up on his bike. He's super hyped on it. He rides scooters too. And then he came back around and he's like, guys, his pedal fell off. Okay. The pedal just wasn't connected. And I was like, that's weird. And it didn't unscrew either. It was like the crank was completely stripped out and somebody like tried to super glue the pedal back in there and then sell the bike. And I was like, wow, you got ripped off. Because now he has to buy new cranks for that to work. So that's, oh, I feel so bad for him, but double check that kind of thing when you guys buy a bike. Don't get ripped off for sure. Good question, Jay. I appreciate it. The Unknown says, man, I wish I could get my car, already waiting for the summer. Mason says, I get better parts that are slightly used. That's another thing. I've been talking about used bikes a lot, but if you get used bike, so you have a bike already, you see a good deal on a used bike that somebody built up a custom and then they're selling it for 300 or 500, whatever. You can buy that bike, take the parts off of it that you want, put it on your bike, and then sell the other parts and probably make back close to what you spent on the whole thing. That's something I see a lot of people doing. Um, Aiden says, how'd you know I'm in history? Aiden, because you were in history last time. I did the live at the same time. You were like, I'm in history, so I figured it's the same thing. Yeah. Um, Isaac says I got to use custom for 350 Canadian. Yeah, that's a good deal, man. If it's people spend like I always tell people, if you don't plan to ride BMX for a long time, don't get a really expensive bike. Like you don't need to spend thousands of dollars because what happens is you do spend thousands of dollars and then you quit riding BMX and you're like, oh well, I guess I'll sell my bike, and you realize that no one's going to buy your bike for thousands of dollars. No one. You're lucky to get 3 to maybe 500 out of a really nice custom bike. So it's tough if you're spending a ton of money on your bike to try and resell it. The resale market in BMX is no good. Aaron, you're a different guy. Okay. Let's see. Isaac says, when are you going to put out the rest of the We the People videos? Isaac, I have 60% of them filmed, but editing takes me a couple hours to do it. I'm working on the arcade right now. I'll drip them out probably once a week over the next month or so. So I'll edit one in a week, release it, edit the other one, release it, and so on and so forth. That's the best way for me to do it. I hope you like them. Isaac wants me to talk about the We the People Trust free coaster. Yeah, that one's on there for sure. And it's going to be 15 minutes. It's going to be really in depth. You will love it. Drink some water. Aaron says, all right, thanks for the advice on the forks. I'll send you a picture when I get it built. I'm going all out. G Sport rib cage rims, a Profile Z coaster. Dude, that's awesome. That was like, you should get some titanium cranks, some titanium spokes, yeah, go all out. That's cool. You'll have to like tell me a little story about how much you spent and everything on it. That'd be cool. I'd write a little post about it. I think that'd be super sick. Isaac says, my used custom has tons of quality parts. I have an Odyssey clutch V2, Odyssey bars, fit tires, We the People frame, an extra cult cassette, and extra bars and pegs. Sounds dope. Isaac, send me a picture on Instagram. If you guys message me on Dougster Bob, if you follow me on the Dougster Bob Instagram from the live, I'll follow you back. I always follow a lot of people back from the live. It's so cool that I can pop on here and see like Bizzle. Bizzle was the Discord guy. That's who it was. It's so cool that I can go on and like look at how you guys are progressing. So like this is Blake. Blake's one of the guys in the live a lot. Blake kills it on the scooter. And so if you guys follow me, I'll follow you back. I have a lot of fun just so I can interact with you guys a little more. Rado says, is it safe to go on MX? Do you mean like motocross? I'm not sure, Rado. If you mean motocross, I mean, yeah, if you want to ride motocross, ride motocross. It's totally up to you. For me, I wouldn't do it. Just, I don't know, man. I get hurt enough on a BMX, and I know if I was on a motocross, a dirt bike, I would get way more hurt. Oh, okay. Now, is it safe to ride your BMX into the water? Maybe that's the question. Um, if that's the question, this is so cool. I'll try and find a little video for you guys. I just saw one of I want to say it was like Jeremy Malott, but he just rode his bike off a cliff at Lake Havasu and front flipped off of it into the water. But there's a lot of people doing like it's like lake jumping. You build a ramp and then jumping it into your lake. And there's a couple things that I'd say to do this with. One, don't do it with your main BMX bike because you are gonna kill your bearings and your frame. I had a bike that I always left outside on my car, like on a bike rack. Somehow it never got stolen, but I always left it out there. And the inside of the bike, like inside of the frame, rusted and the crank. So the crank snapped, I got new cranks, then the frame snapped. And it was just because of from whenever it would rain or it would be really cold in the morning and terrible. Oh, look, this is a Panza video. So the title of the video is Riding the Gnarliest BMX Lake Jump. And I skipped ahead to 3 minutes and there's absolutely no lake jumping. This is so frustrating. All right, we skipped ahead to 5 minutes. Maybe there's lake jumping. But anyway, long story short, oh yeah, it was 5 minutes. I'm not going to send you guys the video because you can just watch it if you want. Blake, we just talked about you on Instagram. That's cool. But Rado, like I said, get a different bike to do it with. And then the other thing, if you guys have like gallon jugs like this, or get 2-liter bottles is probably better, empty soda bottles, tape it to like the crossbar and maybe the top tube and tape those there, because when your bike is in the water, if those are filled with air, it's going to float the bike up to the top. So your bike doesn't sink. And that is also a very important thing to do. All right. Good question, I guess. Pretty good question. Decent question. Mason says, is top load better than front load? Isaac says it's preference. And it kind of is preference. There's one thing, is it the cinema projector? It's a front load, but it's shaped like a top load. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I know there's a lot of other people that hate it. And then there's a handful of people that love it. So front load sits like this, essentially. Your bars are going to be right here on the front load. Now, a top load has a lot more rise. So your top load, your bars are going to sit up here. So it's going to be a lot taller than you are probably used to. And I know when I switched from front load to top load, bar spins got super easy. And it wasn't really anything with that. It was just the fact that it was taller. So I can ride I ride 9.5 or 9.25 inch bars, but with the raised riding a top load stem, it feels a lot higher. And to me, that's a lot more comfortable without having super high bars. So you can kind of manipulate your geometry by doing something like that. But for the most part, it is preference. One thing on stems, guys, there's different reaches. So that's how long the stem is. And if you get a really long reach, bar spins are harder because the bars are so much farther out. When you throw it, the bars come closer. You see that? So the reach, if it's a longer stem, the bars come out like this towards you. And if it's a shorter reach, they stay really close. If you guys have ever ridden a downhill mountain bike, the stems are like really small and the bars are really small. Bar spins are super easy. Even though it's a big wheel, it's just a lot easier to bar spin. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for stems. Wisco Colby says, would you say the Profile Elite hub is still one of the best hub sets? Colby, to me, yes, it is, but I really haven't done too much research on different hubs. Right now, I remember it was like Profile Elite and Colony Wasp were the two loudest hubs, but I haven't looked at hubs. So it's very possible that something better has come out. But considering how much the Elite is and how tried and true it is, like people have been riding it for a long time with no issues, it's the best. It's so much the best that I don't think you need to spend that much money on it. Like, it's really nice to have and it sounds really good, but the reason it's so expensive is because there's so many different points of engagement. There's all kinds of different notches in the hub and in the driver that, if you ride a cheap hub, you can tell that when you pedal, I'm trying to show you, like when you pedal, there's this much of a pedal turn where there's no engagement at all. Whereas the Elite, like as soon as you pedal forward, it's engaging. It's starting to move that wheel. And the reason that's important for people that care about that is when you're racing, you want to be able to pedal and get instant wheel movement out of that pedal. For BMX, it's really not that big of a deal. But if you want a really loud hub that's really nice, really expensive, the Elite is the best way to go. Somebody in here was talking about profile minis, and I think they have a half or a quarter of the engagement of the Elite, half the price, and they're still really loud hubs, really good hubs, but they're not as much. Piff. Hold on. One day I'll figure out how to say this, but now it moved. Prithvi says, should I ride brakes or no brakes? And it's really, Mason says it depends on skill, and that's really a good way to put it. I was going to say it's kind of a preference thing, but it goes along with your skill and your style. So I know, and if your parents will let you, I don't know how old you are, but a lot of people's parents, I know my parents would not let me ride brakeless for the longest time. They thought I was going to die, and I wanted to ride brakeless. The reason I wanted to ride brakeless was because I had a really hard time doing tricks without pulling my brakes. Just because I had my brakes, I would go along and I'd pull my brake right before I did a trick for absolutely no reason. It was just like a comfort thing. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take my brakes off so that I could just get comfortable and not rely on my brakes before I did a trick. So I took them off, and I haven't rode brakes since. And now I'm at the point, like, there's a bunch of different things. So this is where the skill comes into play, like Mason says. You can go at a jump and you can depump. So what that means is that you're throwing your weight the opposite direction that you should when you're going up that transition, and that slows you down. So if you're going over a bump, right, you can pump it and get a lot more speed, or you can depump it and slow yourself down. You can also skid your tire. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to slow down and still ride smoothly. And I've had a lot of fun figuring that out. It really changes the way you ride when you ride brakeless or when you ride with brakes. Brakes do help you with tail whips and airs, because when you're in the air, you can pull the brake and it drops your front end down. And then same with tail whips. When you pull the brake, it stops the wheel rotation, and it doesn't have any, not rolling resistance. Whatever. It doesn't have any counter like weight going against you when you do the tail whip. So there's a handful of things you can do with brakes that make certain things easier, but it also makes things harder. So develop your skill, develop your preference. And honestly, I just say try it out both ways. Try it with brakes for a while, see how you like it, take them off, see how you like it, put them back on, see if you still like it better. Try that out. All right, I'm just reading these to get caught up. Lucas, what's up, Lucas? Lucas is late again. I know I'm going to miss a lot of people by doing these lives earlier, but it works out good for me because then I have the rest of the day. Like, I had to go to work. I forgot about it, and I had to run in to pick something up. I told this lady I'd go at 10:30, and I was like, that doesn't give me any time. Like, if I get caught up with something, I'm not going to be able to do the live. But when we're done with this, I have the whole rest of my day to edit videos and stuff like that. So hope you guys don't miss it too much. If it comes to the point where you guys would rather do it later, like, let me know and I'll look at doing it later. But for me, this works better right now. I know a lot of people are in school, in work, yada, 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 but it's still fun, right? Lucas, glad you're here. Glad you're here. Rado, we got Mason, we got Isaac, we got Blake, we got everyone here. Yeah, Blake, we were just talking about your Instagram. Look, speaking of Instagram, yo, Mason Willis. What's up, Mason? I'll follow you back too, okay? Awesome, appreciate it. If you guys follow me, I will follow you back. Only on the lives, though. Only on the lives. Matt, that's a really good idea. Matt says if I ever do warranty comparisons, and no, I have it written somewhere that I want to do an overall page kind of talking about, We the People's warranty, Sunday's warranty, all those different warranties. I wouldn't necessarily compare it, but I would just kind of talk about it so that you guys know. And I think that's something that's really important to do, because there's a lot of people looking at bikes and then they're not able to, either they don't look at the warranty or they don't understand it. I'm not sure, but they're doing that'll help a lot of people out. Good idea. I'm gonna ask you guys a question so it's less awkward while I chew this piece of bacon and avocado. Let me know. Okay, this is something I've really wanted to do for a while, is start a podcast. And it would be essentially, the way it would work is I would film it like a YouTube video, but also take the audio, do a podcast. One, I want to interview older riders who are getting back into the sport, just kind of talk to them about what BMX is like now, how it's different, what it was like before. I think that would be really fun to talk about. But I also want to have a part where that I can just talk about different things. So let me know in the comments right now what I could talk about that would actually be interesting. It'd be a lot like the live, where I just ramble and go off about different things. So whether it's like, tips for progression or answering different questions, I don't know, but I'm really trying to figure it out, because I think a podcast would be dope and I think you guys would enjoy it. So let me know. I'm going to chew this bacon while you type that in. Okay. I should have got a bigger bite if I was going to do that. I'm so hungry, but I'm going to wait. We got 15 more minutes and I'll eat my salad. All right. I hope you guys are typing those answers in there. Otherwise, that was just an awkward 30 seconds. So, all right, back to the questions. Here we go. Houston says, your bike will look like Trey Jones' rusty BMX. Extra cool. That's a good point. Blake says, my bike is broken and I don't have any money to fix it. It's been a little bit. The chain and sprocket are broken. Yeah, Blake, send me a picture or video of what's wrong with it. Send it on Instagram and I can look at it and see. There's been a lot of times where my bike had something wrong with it and I didn't have money to fix it or pay to get it fixed. So there's a lot of little bike hacks that you can do to get it rightable, if that makes sense. So send me it. Maybe you will be able to do a few things without spending a bunch of money to get it riding. And I will try my best to help you out with that, because that's no fun not being able to ride. Houston says, I'm 6'4", top load all day. Jeff says 6'2", top load for sure. I'm 6'4", top load all day. I'm going to second that, because it does, guys. That extra height helps you out so much for our back. Dude, Houston, Jeff, you guys ever get back problems from like hunching over your bars all the time? Even though I have a pretty tall setup, my back is, if I don't roll it out every day and stretch, it's bad. All right, I'm just reading these questions here. Marvin says, how long are your bars? He's talking about the width here. And I have no idea. I can look real quick, actually. I've played around with bars a lot. Somebody was asking me about what bars to get. I told them I had the Stranger Haze and I absolutely love them. So, but now I ride Colony Biomech bars. And I know when I went from the Stranger Haze to the Biomechs were a little longer and it did make bar spins harder. Okay, yeah, these are 29-inch. The ones I ride are 29-inch. The ones I used to ride were like 28 and a half, I want to say. Width really makes a big difference on that. But here's the thing. It comes to a point where they're so narrow that it's just really hard to control, really hard to actually flow around in the bowl. So there's a perfect medium there where you get really wide bars. The control is so nice. So like if you ride a lot of trails, wide bars are going to feel really good. If you love to do bar spins and stuff like that, narrow bars are going to feel really good. But there's extremes on both sides. So make sure that you're not too extreme, whichever way you go. I think, Marvin, I'd go, I don't know. I'd say cut a quarter off on each side so that you're moving them in a half an inch and see how that goes. It sounds really lame, like only half an inch altogether, but just little things like that really make a difference. Lucas is riding 26, bro. That's actually crazy. It's like I have friends who used to ride back in the day, and they have older bikes, and like this guy's handlebars 7.5 inch rise has to be at like 7 inch and 26 inch wide, and it just looks so funny to me. But that's what bars were like back in the day, so it's really interesting. Rado says, I found out. Oh, the chat moved. Hold on. Oh man, I'm behind by a lot. Okay, here we go. I caught it. Skipped me all the way down to the bottom. Now I'm caught up. Lots of good questions I saw as I was scrolling back through. If you guys, can we get to 20 likes? We're only at 15, which is pretty good. No, it's not. That's bad. We ended the live with probably 30 or 40 last live, and we're almost at an hour. We're at 16 now. Whoever did that like, I love you. We're at 18. You guys are awesome. All right. I'm gonna get back to the questions while you guys hit that button for me. Appreciate it. I love this sport. Okay, Rado says I found out a way to have double wall rims for cheap. Buy a decent sized wheel, then buy a smaller rim and put the stick things inside of both of them. It's probably stupid, but Isaac says what? Yeah, Rado, I love the thinking outside the box. I love the ingenuity, man, but I'm not sure where you're at with things. I'm gonna Here we go. Let's put a little Instagram story on here. Salad. All right. If you guys follow me, you will see that Instagram little story we just put together. I'm gonna save it and keep answering questions. Okay, here we go. Lucas says, maybe you could find something really cheap. I got a perfectly fine We the People arcade for 50. That's crazy. So what Lucas is saying is he's trying to find out a way to help Blake out with getting back on the bike. So right, Blake can only ride the scooter because his bike is broken. Blake, if I had anything, I would do what I could, but I don't know where you live, and I only have like a few extra parts laying around. Houston says, go to your local shop and tell them about your situation. Maybe somebody there can hook you up for dirt cheap. That is a really good idea. That's a really good point, because I can guarantee it, guys, right now, everyone in these comments is like thinking, how could I help Blake out? Like, what could I do to get Blake back on the bike? And there's not much because we're so spread out. So like he's saying, man, if you go to your bike shop, I'm sure there's somebody there who can help you out. That's a really good idea. And I hope you get back on the bike. I don't mind watching the scooter videos, but the bike videos are pretty solid. Lucas, Lucas bought the bike and then sold it for 400. That's wild. Smart guy. Wow. Mason just gave me a follow. Followed Mason back. Thank you. Jeff says brakes equal a Bubaka. That's funny, Jeff, because we were for bike school, we were filming how to a Bubaka and how to Fufanu. And Nick, the other guy with me, I was like, I mean, I don't have brakes. I can't do this trick. So Nick had to do it, and he's really good at them, and it worked out fine. But it does really change your style of riding and kind of impact how you're doing different tricks. I don't have any need to a Bubaka or Fufanu, I guess. They are really cool, especially if you pop out on a sub box and do it. Love that. But I'll just have to live without it, I guess. Okay, Blake, you're going to start working at Jack in the Box. That's good, man. You got to hustle. I remember when I was riding my bike, I worked at the VFW, and I would do the dishes for them once a week for like $20 or something. And that was all I had for like food throughout the week when I was out riding and stuff like that. That's rough. God, life is hard. Once you guys right now, you that are in high school that don't have to worry about stuff like Blake or other people, once you guys get out, life is crazy. You're going to have to figure out, this is why a lot of people quit riding. You have to figure out how to make things work, and that's tough. That's really tough. So Blake, you are going to be a lot stronger here later on in your late 20s or your 30s because you had to go through that and figure it out when you were younger and just start grinding right away. So dude, it's going to help you out more than it's going to hurt you. I promise you. My parents think I have a break, but I don't. They hate me riding. Dang. Let's see. Lucas says his dad's first job was at McDonald's. Rado is talking about car stuff. Isaac says Lamborghini, Bugatti, Maserati. Lucas says my friend is the same. His parents think if he rides a bike, he'll be a gangster. Yo, that's, Jeff and I kind of messaged about that earlier. So here's the thing for me. I started out riding bikes in like middle school, and my friends and I would kind of get together and just ride bikes. A lot of my friends where I went to middle school were really Mormon. I went to like a hardcore, I'm not Mormon. I went to a really hardcore Mormon, like dominated middle school. And they were great people. They were super nice. Like the families are so nice and so welcoming. And it was a great influence for me to have. But I was kind of like a bad kid. I wasn't a bad kid. I was just like, I don't know, just riding bikes, grinding on things and trying to be cool, like the OSS crew, stuff like that. That wasn't around, but anyway. So then I moved to New Mexico for high school, and I ended up riding with a group. The guys were mid to late 20s, and I was still a teenager. And I was so fortunate. I was telling Jeff this. I was so fortunate that those guys were like really straight edge guys. Like they didn't smoke, they didn't drink. They were just really cool. And they welcomed me into their little friend group. They took me on road trips. And it was a really good time for me to have that influence because it could have went the other way. You know what I mean? Like it could have been a bad influence and kind of set me off in a different direction. Because there's a lot of the BMX community that's on that side of things, like the partying and all that stuff. Like I've never been to a party and I'm 24. It's wild, but it gave me a lot of time to focus on riding and getting better at riding without all those distractions that a lot of people in high school end up facing. So there is like that's a really common misconception, Lucas, but there is a side of that, where people that ride bikes are hood or gangster or whatever. And I don't know. It's, hey man, do whatever you like. Like the OSS crew, it's really cool to watch and it's a cool lifestyle, but it's just it's not for a lot of people. But it does give BMX a bad name in the same sense. So I'm glad I can connect with you guys who aren't trying to be hood and just ride your bike and have fun. That's super cool to me. Houston says, don't give up, Blake. They'll hook you up. Sometimes it just takes more time. Yeah, for sure, man. Keep grinding. Your birthday soon. This is one thing I've thought about because I get people emailing me for like bikes, and I only have a good connection with the marketing guy at Kink, and that's really about it. I think all the other companies hate me because I give honest reviews about their bikes, and that's probably why Fit doesn't work with me, is because I don't like their 2021 bike line. But it is what it is. Anyway, what I was getting at is it's one of my dreams to eventually be able to have ways that we can do, I'd say quarterly giveaways for bikes that are sponsored by the community. There's a lot of people that I know would love to help out and pitch in on that. And if there's a way to organize it, like we could get people, say like Blake, a new bike, we could get people who are looking for it that can't get into the sport, get them bikes. But that's kind of the, that's one of the long-term goals. I'll be working on it. We'll see. Yeah, Blake, send me that. I'll see if there's any way that we could fix it for you. Aaron says, we the people in Sunday definitely have the best warranties in the biz. They're limited, but they are the best. Yeah, I talked about that in the We the People video, how it's a guarantee and not necessarily a warranty, but some companies do have warranties. This was crazy. I did a post about are elite bikes good? And to figure it out, because I'm not going to rant on it because I could rant literally forever about why I don't support companies like Elite and Mafia and stuff like that, they're literally sucking money out of BMX and then like not reinvesting, no contest, not paying riders, blah blah blah. But that's a whole different story. The thing with that though is I got into it and I was reading their actual warranty, and it says if you do tricks on this bike, it is not warranted. If you touch it with a tool, like, it's not warranted. You have to pay a qualified mechanic to work on it. You can only ride it on the streets, like with the reflectors and all this stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a BMX company saying that if you do tricks on this bike, it's like, how are you gonna sell BMX bikes and then say, oh, but if you jump it off a curb, it's not warranted? Blows my mind. But there's a lot of stuff out there, and it would be really fun to call out the companies that are doing that and yada yada yada. So, I missed something from Lucas. Lucas says I'm injured indefinitely, so I really want to ride too. Indefinitely, man. That sounds deep, bro. Mason just said start a podcast. If that's the only input I got for that, you guys aren't cool anymore. I changed my mind. Mason, you're cool. I appreciate you. Guys, you got to give me some feedback so I know what I'm working with, so I know how to make good content for you guys. Oh, well. I want to see what happened with Lucas, though, so I'm skipping ahead to try and read that. Rado says, have much virus. You need to get paid. I have 5.7K on one vid. I want 5.7K. I don't know what you're talking about, but from YouTube, I've been making like $2 a day. And, that is enough to pay for this guy right here that I drink every day. And that's about it. But, one day maybe it'll be 2K a day. I don't know. I doubt it. Houston says bacon and avocado. What the heck? That sounds like it would hurt my feelings. Yeah, there's some turkey in here. There's some bacon, some avocado, some lettuce, and some kind of weird ranch. It's green ranch. I don't think it's actually ranch. I have no idea what it is. It's too fancy for me. I'm just going to keep reading through these. This is so cool. You guys are like talking to each other, talking to me, asking some questions. I know we're at an hour, but I don't want to quit yet. I love going. And what always happens is once we get to an hour, YouTube decides to tell people, yo, this is a really cool live. You guys should check it out. So then we get some more people in here. So we can't just end it. Because I lose all my muscles. Oh, yeah. So, Lucas, here's a kind of a tip for that. I had the same thing in it. So BMX is a lot of muscle memory, but I know one time I crashed, my frame cracked in half. That's why I tell you I always check my frame. I cased and it cracked in half. I went face first. I broke this tooth and part of this tooth, and then I cut my chin open, and it sucked. I was off the bike for a month, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But at that time, it was like I did not ride. I was always riding. And so being off for that little bit of time, when I got back on it, everything felt so uncomfortable. It was like a little bit of a learning process just to get back on the bike. And so now what I do when I'm injured is I still hit the gym and I still do little workouts, because if I'm, if I hurt myself and I can't ride, because your bike takes every single muscle. So like, let's say when I hurt my knee, I couldn't ride, but I could still keep my body in shape. And that helped me when I got back on the bike. It was like, it set me back a little bit, but not as much. So guys, I'll always preach about the correlation for riding and exercise. It's so important. So if you guys are hurt on the bike, make sure you guys are still exercising so that your body is in tip-top shape. Zip tie is the Bible of BMX. That's true. I use a lot of zip ties. My video came up that I made a TikTok talking about using zip ties to put your grips on, and then I put it on YouTube as a short. But that TikTok just kind of blew up, and I had a Facebook memory of it, and I was like, oh, that was a year ago. That's wild. All right, I'm just reading these comments. If anything pops out, I am gonna kind of. Oh, we just skipped ahead. I just got an email from Dickies about innovative flex workwear helps you perform and helps keep them secured in the belt, insulated. Good to know, Dickies. I appreciate the email. Guys, I am way behind on these comments. I'm going to start kind of skimming through. If you have a really important comment, like either ask it 100 times or ask it with the, what's it called? The chat that it pins it to the top. It's one of the money chats. That is dope. But I'm going to try and answer as much as I can, but I've got to skip ahead a little bit. Jeff says, my back would be smoked if I didn't do yoga. Aiden says it hailed 2 days ago. It just hailed here when I got in my car and went to the gym. It hailed, and then it hailed when I got back. Isaac says I should try some 10 or 11-inch rise bars. It will not happen. Here's why. When your bars are really tall and your hands are way up here, you have more leverage technically, but there's not enough like pull. So by, yes, being hunched over a little bit, you can still pull the bike up a lot easier and get more power out of it. So like look at Brad Sims. Okay, I'm going to talk about Brad Sims a lot. I love Brad Sims. There's a lot of fit drama with Brad Sims, but he can pull that bike up and just hop, just crazy high. And if his bars were way higher, he wouldn't have that what I'd call it like preloaded, essentially, where you're pulling up to get to a certain point. If the bars are already halfway there, you're not going to get the same amount of power. So I'm going to go up, I think, to 9.5, but I could not do 10 or 11. You guys are crazy. No way. Blake says, there's something wrong with the sprocket because the secret put my bike together wrong and was riding with loose bolt and no spacer and my chain. Send me a picture of it, Blake. And if you need a new sprocket, that's one of the parts I have. And that would be super cheap to mail. Like I'll mail you a sprocket, man. If that's the problem, but send me a picture of it so I make sure that we're not just like throwing parts at it. You know what I mean? Send me a picture or video or whatever. Mason says, do a bike check. Okay, I'll do a bike check because some stuff has changed. You guys let me know, should I do a bike check with some riding clips or just strictly bike check? Okay, I have extra chain too, Blake. If I send a chain and sprocket, maybe that'll get you rolling, but I want to be 200% sure. Send me video. Okay. Isaac's chain is super short. What happened, Isaac, is someone probably while you were sleeping like broke in and took a chain breaker and then took off a few links just to make you mad. You know, if you guys have friends that you really don't like, you could, every time you see them, just let a little bit of air out. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then eventually it'll get really low. They'll pump it up. And then eventually it'll get low. And they'll be like, what is going on? They'll think they have a flat. They'll change it out. And then it's just you letting some air out all along, ruining their life. Don't really do that unless you really don't like them. Mason says, anyone from Richmond, Virginia? Oh my God, Mason, I think I rode there way, way, way back in the day. I have family over there. I'm going to look up the skate park to see. No, no, probably not. I just lied to you. I don't think I've ever been there. But how cool would it have been if I did? Did we get a dislike? Oh no. Isaac says we got a dislike. That's okay. They probably are one of those bikers that do drugs, or they're one of those drug dealing bikers, and they got mad when I was talking about drugs. So that's okay, guys. Dislikes happen. It is all good in the hood. All right. The Mini Rigger says, I'm an intermediate BMX. Is there any bikes with sweet colors? That is a good question, and that's something I talked a lot about with, I want to say the We the People Nova, but I can't actually remember. I'm going to look it up real quick, just to make sure that I'm not lying to you. But a lot of those lower end bikes, those really entry-level bikes, there's the Mafia Kush 2 has like 13 different color options, and the Mafia Kush 2 has double wall rims. I don't know why. It's a really low level bike, and everything on the bike is low quality except the double wall rims. It's kind of crazy. Um, I don't know what kind of sweet colors are you looking for? Like specific colors or just lots of different options? I'm not sure. We just talked about the dislike and then you guys went wild and liked the heck out of this video. Thank you. Appreciate you. Um, what else we got here? Okay, Brandon. Guys, if I miss your questions because I'm kind of skipping around to start to wrap it up. Brandon says, I'm 6'4", 240 pounds, and just bought a Sunday Model C 24-inch. Is it going to be a good bike for beginner tricks? Dude, I don't know, because here's the thing. I always tell people, like, I've never really researched or ridden anything other than a 20-inch wheel. And I ride a 21-inch top tube. You can get some with like 21.25, 21.3, but I've never messed around with a 22 or a 24-inch because, in my opinion, if it's like BMX type, those are so hard to do tricks on, like really, really hard. If you can get a 21-inch BMX, I'm 6'4", I ride a 21-inch also. You're going to be fine with it. And get a BMX with 20-inch wheels with a longer top tube, and you'll be able to do tricks on that a lot easier. Sorry, I'm wheeling my chair forward and I'm like bobbing my head. Sorry. That'll be a lot easier than the 24-inch. But if you want to do the 24-inch, like, try it and progress with it, and then let me know how it goes. BMX Nation says, why does my half link make a popping sound when I pedal? I think the wheel shifted and the chain got loose. So yeah, that's what happens. Try to show you a good example. But if your wheel is not like perfectly aligned, and let's say it's a little bit this way, then when you pedal, your sprocket is set like this, and your wheels turn just a little bit. It's pushing the chain that direction, whichever way it's misaligned, whether it be that way or that way. It's pushing the chain that way when you pedal. So it's trying to come off, but then your sprocket's straight. So it's grabbing the chain and popping it back on all the time. So just make sure, like, kind of look at it, look down the cassette and make sure the cassette is exactly aligned with the sprocket. If it's not, then that's going to be giving you that popping sound. The other thing is, if you've ridden one for a really long time, I know mine's like this. If you've ridden it crooked for a long time, it grooves the sprocket. So it puts notches and puts grooves in the sprocket. So then even if it's straight, it's still going to catch and click and pop because there's grooves and it's just not a smooth sprocket anymore. So check that out. What else we got here? Blake says, Lucas, what's your Insta? Yeah, guys, share your Instagrams together. We can all make sure that we link up. I know we all subscribe to each other. It's kind of funny. A lot of the guys who are always in the lives, I subscribe to you so that I can check out your videos. Aiden says, can't you just pedal down to brake? And I'm not sure what you mean. I hope you don't mean pedal backwards, because yes, you can do that, but those are on really, really not BMX bikes. Aaron says, I totally washed dishes at a restaurant to buy my first bike too. Enjoy those young years, my friend. I had the most fun of my life back in those days, even though I was broke. So I'm gonna go philosophical on you guys. I was just thinking of this when I got in my car to the gym, because I saw somebody that had a really nice vehicle at the gym. Not really nice, like medium nice, right? You know, something that's probably $20,000-$30,000. They had a Mr. Car Wash tag, so they pay a subscription for the car wash. They pay a subscription for this gym. This gym I go to is super expensive, like outrageously expensive. And the only reason I pay for it is because it's kind of close to me and it's kind of nice. Now, but I was thinking about this, okay, is I feel like there's so many people. I don't know what kind of shape this person's in. I have no idea. But let's assume that they're not in that good a shape. And let's assume that they have to go to the gym and work out to feel good about themselves, but they spend so much time at work to pay for all these other things that they pay for that make them feel good about themselves, that they kind of hate their life because they're always at the gym, or not always at the gym, always at work, having to work. And it goes to what Aaron's kind of saying, is that we get to this point where we're always constantly looking for things that make us feel better about life, and we're okay with spending money on that. And it comes to the point where we spend so much money on all of these different things because we're not necessarily happy and we're looking for a quick fix to our happiness, that we keep spending money, keep spending money, keep spending money. And we just get in this point where we have to spend so much time at work to pay for all these things that we thought would make us happy that actually don't. And we just get so much more unhappy because of it. And I hope this can make an impact on you guys where you're at right now. Don't buy things to impress people. Buy things that will further your mindset, further your health, and further your wealth. Not things that are going to make people think that you're cool, because ultimately all it's going to do is put you in a place where you need to work to try and be happy. And that's not good. So keep that in the back of your mind as you guys keep working, as you guys keep doing different things and getting older, because I see so many friends get in this position where they cannot have fun with life anymore because they're stuck. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. Blake says, don't vape or smoke. Don't get addicted to that stuff. Yeah, that's something I've never done either. It's just a bad habit, and you spend so much money on it. And it's a lot of it going back to what I said about trying to be cool. And nobody likes that. Look, Blake is spitting facts and says, Doug, you should make a super fire edit and tell all the BMX companies to sponsor you. Aiden, I am not too concerned with getting sponsored. I think it would be really cool, and it's something that I had a dream about at one point. And then I was just like, I'm going to kind of build my own little brand and my own little empire, and I'll just sponsor myself. So that's where I'm at with things. I'm not good enough to get sponsored, to be completely honest. I wish I was, and I hate to say that. But I'm not, and I don't have the time to get on that level to get sponsored. It is a tough road. It is tough out here in BMX, and you have to be next level to get sponsored. You have to start out when you guys are your age right now, not my age, your age, younger, and literally get those 10,000 hours that it takes to be an expert at something by the time you're in your 20s. You have to put in so much time, so much effort constantly. You have to be thinking about it. And it's really hard. Not many people are able to do it. And I don't think I was. I'm okay at the bike, but I'm nowhere near good enough to get spoonstered. But that's okay. I have fun riding. I have fun doing what I'm doing. So Rachel asked a question. What color parts go with the lavender 2020 Kink Gap? That is very interesting. I'm not sure what colors go with lavender. Black, white, maybe green. I think green and lavender could kind of give an Easter vibe and look kind of cool. But other than that, I have no idea. Lavender by itself looks really cool, like lavender and black, lavender and white. But for a third color, yeah, I'm not sure. Just don't do something like red. Lavender and red would not look good. Ooh, raw too. Birdie EMUSS says raw also. That is a very good point. I agree. Or chrome, yes. Jeff says, I kept my SE frame and bought all Odyssey stuff for the warranties. Jeff, your bike is going to be killer, and it's going to be backed by a solid warranty. So that's awesome, man. What else do we got here? I'm just going to read these comments, try and start wrapping it up, catch up. Guys, what are you guys doing this weekend? Is anyone able to ride bikes or no? I know a lot of people are out here that cannot ride bikes because it's the winter. And I'm going to go ride tomorrow, and I hope it is good weather for me. It skipped, and someone just said, Doug, you are so something. Hold on. Let's read it. I hope they're not talking. Why are we using all caps to yell at me? The person who disliked the video is blind and deaf. Oh, I hope not. That'd be sad. All right. Sorry, guys. I know it's kind of awkward for you when I'm just reading these comments and not talking about anything, but I'm just trying to find a good question to go on a little tangent about. And I'm so behind. Last live we had like, I don't know, 800 different comments, and I know we're gonna have more because of how far behind I am right now. Okay, here's a good. Gail says 100% you should do a podcast. They're great for people who aren't available during your lives. Okay, convinced, but that doesn't tell me what I should do the podcast on. It just tells me, yes, I should do it. Give me podcast ideas in the comments, please. I have this little mic. It's not very good, honestly. It's like, I don't know. It was on clearance at Walmart actually for 20 something. And it's probably $50 normally. But I will buy a very nice mic to do a podcast. Not a $500 mic, but something more than that. So it's really good quality, but I need to know what to talk about. Rachel says, Doug, you are so underrated. Appreciate it. A lot of people tell me that, and I'm just trying to answer some questions and have fun doing what I do. It's really cool when people tell me that because I just try and help you guys out. And it makes it really hard for the channel to grow organically. But overall, it's genuine contact and genuine like relationships that I'm building, which I think will help me out in the long term. It'll be harder to grow really fast, but it'll just be solid. So that's what I'm going for. Aiden says his mic was unmuted. He probably was talking in his live. Yikes! Or in his Zoom. That's my biggest fear. I have to do conference calls for work, and like sometimes I drive or do different things, and I'm like always checking that my mic is muted because, like I said, that's my biggest fear. Matt says, also a fan of the podcast idea. Probably need to do some good content planning so you know what to cover, who to interview, and how often you'll put out the episodes, etc. Yes, Matt, that is good, and that is something that I don't do very good, even for these lives, or a lot of my videos, man. It's just top of the head, and it makes me stutter a lot, makes me kind of think a lot, and get in So for the podcast, I would really want to be able to just have something solid that I'm talking about that is easy to follow. Good idea. Appreciate the feedback. All right, I'm just reading comments. You guys are so awesome, giving me all these comments, all this feedback. We are at an hour and 22 minutes. I'm gonna go to an hour and a half, and then no matter where I'm at, I'm just gonna stop because I need to eat my salad. Look, I need to eat my salad. But the reason I spend so much extra time on this live, I have like bacon stuck to my finger, is that I know when I was starting out, something like this would have helped me out so much. Like being able to get answers to my questions, being able to get interaction with someone who actually rides bikes would help me out so much because, you could comment on somebody's Instagram video, but are they actually going to reply to you? Probably not. Brad Sims replied to me once, and I was like, yo, let's go. Bertie says his mate has the yellow We the People Justice. The taxi cab yellow looks dope. I was just reviewing it, and I was like, it's unique, man. Nobody really goes super unique with their different colors, which makes me think like if you do come out with something really unique, like the yellow taxi cab Justice, you can stand out. But we'll see. We'll see. Cohen Dost. Is that how you say your name, man? He says, hi, I just want to start out. And that's awesome. What are you struggling with? What do you need help with? What are you trying to figure out? If nothing, hopefully just watch all the videos on my channel and you'll be pro in no time. Just kidding. Probably not that good. But BMX Nation says, oh my God, I have a friend that airs my tires. But he's not trying to be rude. He's just messing around. It does get annoying. Yeah, dude. That's funny that somebody does that to you. You're going to have to hit him back. Dude, I remember one time I was at the skate park with my friend Barrick and my friend DJ, and I thought it would just be hilarious. Okay. They always back their cars in. They always would back their cars in. So what I thought would be super funny is if I just parked my car in front of their cars so that they couldn't like just leave when they wanted to. And I thought that'd be funny. So I did that. So they let the air out of my car tires, all four of them. They just let all the air out while I was riding. And then they, we're riding, have a good time. My bike tire went flat. I had to go to Walmart to get a new tube. I get to my car, and there's no fucking air in my tires. And I was so pissed. I was probably 16 or 17. I just started driving. And so that's how you being funny can backfire on you. I was really mad. I always talk to Barrick about it now because Barrick and I still ride. DJ does not live here anymore. Uh, now I'm mad thinking about it. So anyway, that happens. So Birdie says, "What are your thoughts on the trust?" Didn't I just? I think I just did the trust review. Isn't that the video I did? I honestly can't remember. If it is, my thoughts on it. Oh, I have not done the trust yet. It will be out soon, Birdie. I promise the trust review will be out soon, but not yet. Mason says, "Get Doug 230 likes." We're only at 28, Mason, but like Mason said, get Doug to 30 likes. I didn't say it. Mason said it. So if you guys haven't liked it, hit it. Aiden had to go. Sad. He probably had to go pay attention to history. Blake says, "I have to go too." Oh, okay. Well, if everyone's leaving, peace. Nah, just kidding. I'll finish these. Yo, what's up, Chris? We gonna ride bikes tomorrow or what? Chris is from El Paso, guys. I'm gonna shout Chris out on here too because Chris. Let me tell you about Chris. Chris used to only know how to do a toboggan, and I would go El Paso, and he'd do toboggans, and I call him Toboggan Man. But now Chris can do flip bars and double whips and like triple bars. It's crazy. And Chris is a perfect example of one of those guys who was at your guys' age and just kept riding. Like he did not stop. He kept progressing. He's still progressing to this day. And I think he's 18, maybe 19, where he can do these tricks like 360 double whip, flip bar spin, triple bar. It's crazy. But that's what can happen to you guys if you guys keep progressing and keep networking with other people who ride bikes a lot. Rachel says, "Doug, I'm 5'2" and beginner coming into intermediate, and I want to get a Kink Gap 2020 lavender splatter. Is it good? If Rachel, you are actually almost intermediate, like here's where I say, if you're beginner, you're doing bunny hops, you're working on 180s, you're working on feebles, you're working on some basic tricks like that. The Kink Gap Lavender is good. The Kink Gap Lavender is good if you're doing some basic 360s, and maybe trying to learn bar spins. But if you're getting to the point where you're doing 360s down things, you're working on tail whips, you're working on, grinding handrails, smiths, ice picks, a lot of grinds like that, or more mid-level tricks, I would skip the gap and I would go up to something like the Kink Whip, maybe something with full chromoly, whether it be the Devotion, whatever. Because when you're just starting out, it's really easy. Just the biggest thing is to get a bike and start riding, figure it out, and kind of learn bike control. But once you start to learn tricks, 360s, things like that, the Kink Gap isn't full chromoly. So that back end, like I talked about, thanks Jeff for the finger bike, as you do spins, it's gonna constantly bend over time. It's gonna constantly start to crack and just parts are gonna break. So if you are at that mid-level, just get a mid-level bike. If you're just starting out, get a beginner. The Gap to me is kind of beginner, not quite mid-level. And I don't want you to get a bike that just breaks. So LA says, "Do double wall rims put up with heavy riders that weigh over 220 pounds?" Yes. I'm 210 right now. I was probably around 220 at one point, and I never had an issue with double wall rims. As long as they're double wall, and there's a different standard of quality, but triple wall is too much because now rims are, they're flash welded and they have different chambers where they're just so much stronger. Even though they're double wall, those will be just fine for you. LA, don't even worry about it. Anthony says, hello, can I ask you a question? Of course, Anthony. Hello, welcome to the live. And I was going to end it. Now we're at an hour and a half, but I'm going to look for your comment just to find it because you were so nice about it. You guys, you can ask any question you want. Jeff made a good point. It's all about debt, Doug. Don't go into debt. BMX Nation says, I'm editing a new video for my channel. If you want to check it out, I'm going to try to finish my edit for the beginning of February. I will definitely check that out. And now I'm going to find Anthony's question if he asked it, and then we are going to end the live here. Guys, Anthony, I'm never going to find your question. Why is there so many? Gail, good idea. Stories. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of BMX stories actually. Okay. Appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the ideas. Isaac says, dude, it's fine. Eat it. No. I'm not going to eat myself alive. Nope, not going to do it. Soon though. Blake says, I know these people. They are twins named Nate and Joel. They are insane at biking, legit insane, sponsored by Sunday, but I stopped riding with them because they are mean. I'm not going to end on that, but I just want to touch on that, guys, because here's the thing. It really makes an impact on whether, how you act with other people that you ride with really makes an impact on the sport. And what I mean by that is that if no one rides BMX, then companies will not make BMX bikes. Companies will not make parts. Company will not put on events, will not sponsor riders, things like that. And if you guys are dicks to people and people don't ride with you, then the long-term impact of that is that people quit getting into the sport. People quit spending money on the sport. And what that does is that puts us back to where we were when Matt Hoffman allegedly revived the sport, when BMX almost died, when BMX almost wasn't a thing. So if you are not good to your other fellow bike riders, then BMX might not be a thing in 5-10 years, and your kids might not get to enjoy it. So keep that in mind, okay? Okay, I'm skipping through looking for some solid questions. Bypaths is in there saying he wants to move to LA. Rachel wants to move to Vancouver. Mason says, do BMX memes on the podcast. And I'm not sure how I do memes on the podcast. So if you have a good idea, let me know, because I'm not sure how I do a meme. Okay, so I think Felt went out of business, Mason. I'm not sure why. All right. I guess that's it, guys. I don't know. I kind of skipped ahead. I didn't see any super solid questions, or I really missed a lot of questions, and I'm sorry about that. Friday, come back, ask your questions, email them to me, comment them on something, because I have a list of things that I kind of want to go over eventually, and I'll just do a live dedicated to that. But guys, as always, I'm going to be thinking about the podcast, so if you have any ideas with that, let me know. I'm going to keep putting out the We the People videos and keep doing these lives. So if you guys have any super good ideas, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to get off of here and eat my salad. So I appreciate you all that are a part of the community, and I have so much fun with what I'm doing. So yeah, get out, ride your bikes, have fun. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.